Peace, infinite waters diving deep once again. We are out here in the heart of nature, baby. Woo! Breathing in that good ass prana. We got the wind swaying everywhere and it feels good. So someone asks, is it dangerous to open your third eye? Now, I've made a lot of viral videos about how to open your third eye, and there's always so much interest. I dive deep. There are people who dive even deeper than me. And I'm like, whoa, we ain't even had breakfast yet. Can I get a hello? So I'm gonna share with you some pros and cons of opening your third eye. A lot of people have been writing to me recently saying that they feel a massive shift happening on the planet. And I feel it too. And I feel this is such an awesome time to be alive because this is really the time where the hidden is coming to light. Now, this is a deep diving channel. And because of that, I can pretty much talk about whatever I want. Plato, in his famous work, The Republic, Socrates is talking to Glaucon and the allegory of the cave. Have you ever heard of that story? Story of the cave? So let me share it with you. There are prisoners inside of this cave. They've been there since birth. I know it's terrible. They've been chained down and they are literally facing a wall. They can't move. They just have to look straight ahead. Now, behind them is a massive fire because you got to stay warm inside of a cave. It's probably cold. Now, in between the fire, which is really kind of warm, and the prisoners is a walkway of people carrying things. Some people are carrying animals on top of their head, as you do. Some people are carrying plants on top of their head, as you do. And because of that, these images are now appearing on the wall as shadows, right? And the prisoners actually feel this is reality because for so long, every single day, day after day, they only see the shadows on the wall and they're like, oh my gosh, to one another. I think this shadow has more detail than that one. And the one who gets it right is like, yes. Okay, and they're like heralded as this super genius. Plato said that inside the cave, the shadows were seen as the truth. Slow motion this side. Now, there's always one, isn't there, right? One prisoner managed to escape. Thank goodness. He got outside and was like, I don't believe it. I can't believe it. Reality is totally different from inside the cave. And he was so shocked. I think he was really silent for a long time. Then he went back into the cave and started to tell the prisoners. He's like, wake up to the truth of who you are. And they didn't want to hear that. They're like, if you threaten my way of existence in believing that these shadows are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, I will kill you. Ah, of course. Like the prisoner is like, I'm getting my ass out of here. You guys can stay here, right? Because the other prisoners just didn't believe him. Now, this is kind of how like the third eye is. That was a beautiful allegory of the cave by Plato about how the nature of reality works. I've seen along my journey that it could be dangerous, okay, to open your third eye if you aren't ready. If you are like one of those prisoners in the cave, not willing to realize that there is so much more than meets the eye. Inside of the cave, the prisoners believed everything they saw, everything they experienced and interpreted through their senses was the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But we all know, you want the truth? You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. Okay? So, when we are just like the prisoners in the cave, it's very dangerous to open your third eye, which is the Ajna chakra, right? The Ajna chakra. We go back to the Indus Valley. People who had managed to open their third eye started to see the interconnectedness between everything. And when you go back to the wisdom of ancient civilizations, ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, the Sumerians, who had altered states of consciousness because they had opened their third eye, you develop a greater awareness. That is the benefit of opening your third eye. But you see, not everyone can handle this awareness. You gotta ask yourself, am I responsible? I remember days when I was in the club, dancing away, but when I was doing that, I was also beginning to open my third eye to say, wait a minute, because I was reading books about how sound frequencies, right? How sound frequencies can manipulate human beings' behaviors, right? So I'm like, whoa, I'm dancing along and I'm like, whoa, am I being manipulated by this sound right now? A club, they call it a club because you are being clubbed. Oh my gosh. Slow motion this side. Right? So I realized that opening your third eye is fantastic if you are responsible to deal with this level of awareness. And the truth can't be told, it has to be realized. Every single person you see is at a different level of awareness. Right now, I've got deep divers who are diving deeper than me, right? Everyone's at different stages. I'm diving deeper than a lot of people. It's no competition. You gotta realize where you are, right? To say, okay, am I really ready for this new awareness? And if you are, then fantastic. If you're not, then stay inside the cave, okay? At least there's a fire at the back. What is another pro and con of opening your third eye? I don't feel there are any cons. I just feel it's, once again, asking yourself, am I ready to really see reality in a different way? Because the further you go back, the more you see how the ancients believed that everything was connected. It's only recently that we start to see that many people believe that everything was separate from everything else with the onset of Newtonian physics. But now we are entering a quantum reality called the field. This has been scientifically documented, right? Scientifically documented, right? So many people who open their third eye sometimes say, Ralph, yes, I feel so overwhelmed with all of this information. It's so overwhelming that I'm actually like contemplating doing what Cypher did in the Matrix, which was like saying, I want to be plugged back into the Matrix, right? The Matrix being the illusion world, just like the shadows on the walls, right? It's not the truth, but we think it is, because it's so overwhelming that you're like, I can't believe it. Okay? It hits you like a lightning bolt. Goodness gracious. Okay? So, a lot of information, because right now, let's face it, we are being bombarded with so much information from here, from there, from everywhere, that even for me at times, it can be really overwhelming. And I'm like, was it a good idea to open my third eye to start decalcifying my pineal gland? Yes, it was. But for some people, it could be very dangerous if you don't know how to deal with a lot of information. If you don't know how to use discernment, which is the ability to judge well. Because there being so much information, if you don't know how to tell what's what, then you are gonna have a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic. And you have to really take one step at a time, right? Take one step at a time. I've realized that there is no greater truth out there than the one in here. All we have to do is reconnect back to the truth of who we are. We have all the answers, but more so, we are our own guru. Slow motion this side. Many people who are decalcifying their pineal gland, who are opening their third eye, the Ajna chakra, dealing with intuition, imagination, clairvoyance, seeing things before they actually happen, will tell you that it comes to them. It's not something that they have to always seek outside of themselves. Yes, we have people around us to help us along our journey, but ultimately, it's something we have to experience for ourselves. Because, you see, many people who are sometimes opening their third eye, it could be dangerous if you are always just tuning into so much information, and then you find out the information is fear-based, right? Because that's what you want, right? You want the blockbuster, you want the entertainment. It's about realizing you need to use discernment, the ability to judge well, to tune into information that serves you to help you become your greatest version, which is not fear-based, but love-based, which reconnects you back to the true, authentic you. Now, 7-Day Vegan Challenge blowing off real crazy. I attend a lot of festivals. I meet a lot of people who have changed their food diet for the best. Now, opening your third eye is linked to food, right? Because a lot of people even write to me saying, Ralph, it all started actually when I watched your videos. They tell me that too, but they say, Ralph, it all started when I started to change my diet, when I started to stop eating animals. Then all of a sudden I became really sensitive to all the energies around me. It was almost as if I was being born again for the first time. Okay? Now, a lot of people are rejoicing right now because their whole life is totally different. They are now beginning to see reality in a whole different way. But it could be dangerous, just as it was for me in the beginning, at the early stage when I was so addicted to fast food, eating toxic junk, that I didn't want to let it go. And I realized that when I started to eat a more plant-based diet, I was seeing things that I didn't want to see. Okay, and it's almost like automatic. You can't pretend like you don't know. The more papaya you stuff in your mouth, the more E3 Live, the most nutrient-dense food in the world, watercress too, wheatgrass, the more you get the green juices going and flowing, you start to live a more karma-free life. You start to realize that, okay, human beings, we are not the be-all and end-all of everything. Animals, as hard as it seems to imagine, right? They actually have a soul. Animals are actually sentient beings. They are actually here to experience their own version of reality. It's not up to us to decide their fate. How would you like it if someone said, okay, let me decide if I should eat you or not, right? So as my third eye started to open and I started to say, gosh, we need to apologize to animals right now on the planet. Slow motion this side. With over 64 billion animals killed every single year, I started to realize, gosh, I sometimes feel ashamed to be a human being. And opening your third eye is only dangerous when you still want to hold on to a diet which doesn't serve you. Because as your third eye begins to open, you start to leave a diet that doesn't serve you, right? What is another pro and con of opening your third eye? Many people who open their third eyes often start to leave society. They start to become detached from the world around them, the 3D world which we are told this is all there is. And because of this, many people in the early stages of decalcifying their pineal gland, opening their third eye, start to feel alienated. They start to feel alone. They start to feel lost sometimes. There's no one around. They start to feel there isn't anybody that gets them. Family and friends have abandoned them, right? Abandoned them, you abandoned me, right? They're like, where's everybody? Okay. That's why it could be seen as dangerous, because now you might find yourself alone for a small period of time. But how I turned this around was to realize there are people who are always going to be there for you. It's not about trying to convince people of getting people to see the world how you see it. This isn't the time for that. It's about sharing your message, speaking your heart and mind, and then realizing you will naturally attract your reflections. Slow motion this side. I did along my journey. I started to speak. I've been speaking about the third eye, indigos for a long time. And because of that, I actually connected with people who were my true reflections, because I wasn't sugarcoating. So that's the pro, that as your third eye begins to open up even more, you will start to find people. Once you start speaking about your experience, who won't start judging you. They will actually be there for you. And you will also learn that you can still be in the world, but not off the world, not off the 3D, right? And it works wonders. And what is another pro and con? Is it dangerous to open the third eye? Well, do you not want to be judged? Do you want everyone to like you? Then don't open your third eye, because it's going to be really, really bad for you. Really dangerous, okay? Look, as your third eye begins to open, everything is up for questioning. Everything is up for questioning. Everything's up for questioning, okay? Because once again, just like in the cave where the prisoners interpreted reality as being the shadows on the walls, a lot of us do that too, right? You might watch the news and think, gosh, it's real. You might read a newspaper and think, gosh, it's real, not realizing this is nothing more than a shadow appearing on a wall. It is but a figment of the truth, right? It is not the whole truth. So I started to realize that the beauty of opening your third eye, realizing that there's more to life. There is so much we don't know. There is so much that quantum physics is even showing us through entanglement, that two atoms could be so far apart, but if you do 1 to 1, the other one acts exactly the same way instantly. That everything is connected. You see, the Native Americans said this, that we didn't weave the web of creation. We are part of the web of creation. Slow motion this side. I've seen it like this. Look, people are going to judge you anyway. And the beauty of opening your third eye is that it gives you confidence, where you can actually say what you want. You can say what you want. You can say how you really feel and say, look, this is me. You can take me or leave me. Leave me with a cat down the road. This is who I am. I'm not going to change just because you want me to change. And in turn, once you find that confidence, you naturally start meeting your reflections. And look at it like this. You will be becoming a pioneer instead of being a prisoner in a cave. And there you have it. We are here just, woo, breathing in that good ass prana, baby, in the heart of nature, opening our third eye, and it feels fantastic. Have a beautiful day. Feels so good to be alive, baby. Can I get a hello? Infinite Wars, diving deep once again. Stay well, stay healthy. Peace. You.